A lot of silly season updates, a Joe Gibbs Racing weekend sweep, and the Cup Series round of 8 in the playoffs is set. All today on the fifth turn. All right, everybody, welcome into the fifth turn. My name is CJ Ward. So good to have you here. Pardon the voice. I have got a little bit of a cold, but we will make it. A lot to talk about this week. We got a lot of silly season updates. We had two incredible races at Kansas this weekend, and we'll get into all of that in just a few minutes. Just remember, quickly, you can follow the show on Twitter at Fifth Turn, also on Facebook, facebook.com/thefifthturn, and you can also send an email to thefifthturn@gmail.com if you want to get in touch with me that way. I will be sure to get back to you, and as always, leave a like and a comment and hit subscribe if you haven't already. Always love to hear from whoever is watching my videos. So yeah, let's get into all the action from this weekend, starting off with a few pieces of news. We've just got a few silly season moves and updates to recap. The first bit is that two drivers that we knew were going to be somehow involved in silly season essentially just did a ride swap. So it was announced several weeks ago that Chris Buescher would be moving over to Roush Fenway Racing in the 17. It was announced this week Ricky Stenhouse Jr. will simply just trade rides with him, and Stenhouse will take over the second JTG Daugherty Racing car. We think it's going to be the 37, but the team owners of JTG Daugherty Racing have basically said they may swap numbers, they may not, they don't know. They're definitely going to stick with the 37 and the 47. They just need to decide which one is going to be Ryan Preece and which one is going to be Ricky Stenhouse Jr. So officially, we know where Stenhouse is landing. He will be the second driver for JTG Daugherty Racing. Also, it was officially announced this week that Truck Series rookie Harrison Burton will be moving full-time to the Xfinity Series next year to take over for Christopher Bell in the Joe Gibbs Racing number 20. Dex Imaging will move with him to provide sponsorship for the majority of the season. Being that he is a rookie in the Truck Series and still has not won in that series, a lot of people are kind of skeptical about this move. I actually think it's a good one. If you're just looking at the stats, he's run a lot better in the Xfinity car than he has in the truck this year, and so I think this is a good move. I'm liking it. I think he's going to have a very good Xfinity Series rookie season next year. And finally, it was announced that Clint Bowyer will have at least one more year in the Stewart-Haas Racing number 14. He signed a one-year extension through 2020 to stay in that 14 car. So we know that 3 of the 4 Stewart-Haas drivers are staying put. Obviously, Harvick, Almirola signed an extension, as did Clint Bowyer. Daniel Suarez is still the guy who could potentially be on the chopping block, especially with Cole Custer waiting in the wings. According to some rumors, we should be hearing something about Daniel Suarez probably within the next couple of days. At some point this week, it would not surprise me at all to hear something about the future plans for Daniel Suarez regarding his future at Stewart-Haas Racing. So yeah, we've got a few silly season moves there. Not a whole lot of other news to recap. So let's go ahead and dive into the racing action from Kansas. We had 2 phenomenal races in the Xfinity Series and the Cup Series. Joe Gibbs Racing sweep, but probably not either of the drivers that you would have expected. Great races. Let's start off with the Xfinity Series. Ross Chastain, the Melon Man, was back in the 10 for Kaulig Racing just shortly after announcing that he was going to be full-time in that car next season. That team really had to battle some adversity. Several teams this weekend did. Last week, on their way to Kansas Speedway, the Kaulig Racing 10 hauler crashed on the highway. The hauler driver had some kind of a medical issue. The co-driver tried to save the truck and was not successful. They went off the road. Big crash there. Thankfully, everyone involved is okay. Not sure the damages and how much they were able to salvage from that car, but they did have their primary Kansas car in that trailer, and so the car that Ross ran this weekend was originally supposed to be the car that they were going to bring for him to Texas in a couple of weeks, but they decided to bring that car forward a little bit. They also worked with Richard Childress Racing, their technical teammate, to get him a backup car. I believe it was actually Joe Graff Jr.'s car that was the 10 backup. But yeah, we had a lot of hauler incidents. Not only that, but also the 47 hauler for Ryan Preece in the Cup Series. That hauler caught fire. We had an incident there. A lot of teams having hauler issues this week. But yeah, Chastain was able to battle back from adversity, had a great race going. The defending winner of this race was John Hunter Nemechek. He won last year in the Ganassi 42 car and returned this year for GMS Racing, actually the same paint scheme that he won with last year for Fire Alarm Services. We had Christopher Bell on the pole. Obviously one of the big three in the Xfinity Series, just so dominant this year. Jeremy Clements, though, had a solid top 10 qualifying run. He qualified 6th, and that's actually where he finished, too. So he had a phenomenal run for that very small, low-budget team. Very early in the race, Ryan Truex, in his final start of the year in the Junior Motorsports 8, had some kind of an engine issue. I don't remember exactly what the issue was, but he ended up being done early, and just what a heartbreaking way for him to finish up the year. He only runs a handful of races a year, and he said after getting out of the car, this was one of the best cars that he's ever had in the Xfinity Series. So, yeah, tough blow there for Truex. Pretty early on, we had contact between the 22 of Austin Cindric and the 10 of Ross Chastain. Shortly after, the 22 got into the wall, and the 2 of Tyler Reddick almost lost it trying to avoid it. It was a crazy save, but that gave the 22 a vibration, set him way behind the 8 ball as far as the playoffs go. Noah Gragson, driving the 9 for Junior Motorsports, was super impressive. He was like solid top 3 all day. Incredible speed in that 9 car. Christopher Bell dominated the first stage. Noah Gragson had a bad pit stop, put him behind the 8 ball. And then we had a lead change up front. Cole Custer got around Christopher Bell. But then we had a very crazy incident. I don't know what Team Penske has against Harrison Burton, but Austin Cindric just flat out wrecked him. There's no way around that. He just strove right into his rear end, spun him out, and then rammed him again as the 18 was spinning. Not a good look there. I don't remember what track it was. It might have been New Hampshire. But in the Xfinity race, Paul Menard was driving the 12 for Team Penske, wrecked Harrison Burton there. So I don't know what Penske has against Harrison Burton, but got a lot of those guys wrecking him. So not cool at all. And the 22 of Austin Cindric was kind of just a menace all day. He just drove through John Hunter Nemechek as the 23 was loose through the corner, just slammed into him, gave the 23 possibly a tire rub. Major save for the 10 of Chastain. Chastain was loose through the corners all day, basically wrecking every single lap almost. But he had a crazy save. He was completely sideways through the corner and somehow saved it. Custer won stage 2, just in dominating fashion. The JRM guys, other than Noah Gragson, continuing to struggle. But the 98 of Chase Briscoe was coming alive. He was one of the best cars all day. The 9 of Gragson got into the wall late. We had a caution that probably shouldn't have been. The 1 of Mike Lynette just barely got into the fence. It was not enough to bring out a caution, but we've seen NASCAR be a lot more inconsistent on their caution calls lately, and this was just another case of that where it really didn't deserve to be a full course yellow, but it was. Then we had a huge save for the 00 Cole Custer. He came down across the nose of the 11 of Justin Haley, just barely saved it. John Hunter spun and brought out a caution. Kid just cannot catch a break this year. Feel so bad for him. Then Ross finally lost it, backed it into the fence, but he still rebounded for a top 10, even with all the damage that was on the back of that 10 car. Just spun through the corner and could not catch it. We had then just an incident that should not have happened. The lapped car of the 0 of Garrett Smithley, who has found himself in the middle of a lot of controversy over the last couple of weeks. He just did not know that the leaders were behind him, and coming up through the tri-oval, he slid right up in front of the leaders, who happened to be the 98 of Chase Briscoe and the 20 of Christopher Bell. Just slid right up in front of him, pinched the 98 into the fence. 20 had nowhere to go, spun them both. 3 cars just piled up. It was ugly. It was stupid. It should not have happened. Smithley felt real bad afterwards, obviously, but and Briscoe said, I know it's hard. I've never been in the position of, that low budget of a car. I know it's tough for him, but you've got to have some kind of awareness of what's going on around you, because that is just unacceptable. You just can't do that. And so Smithley takes out the leaders there. Just idiot move, should not have happened. But then we had one of the craziest restarts I've ever seen. The 19 of Brandon Jones got out to the lead, just shot out to the lead on an incredible restart. The 00 and 20 of Cole Custer and Christopher Bell kind of slammed doors, and the 9 of Noah Gragson and the 35 of Joey Gase crashed pretty quickly after. Then we had a final restart. Brandon Jones, who just this past week was rated by a fellow YouTuber as the worst driver in NASCAR right now, wins this race. Brandon Jones, he was eliminated from the playoffs in the first round. He's been so close a lot. He's been in the Xfinity Series a long time, driving for Richard Childress Racing and Joe Gibbs Racing. Has never really made a whole lot of noise. A lot of people thought he was a total bust in the sport because he just has not been able to win anything. And kid finally breaks through, finally gets it done. It was very, very cool. Chase Briscoe, after getting wrecked by a lapped car, still rebounded to finish third. It was incredible, but just congratulations to Brandon Jones. That was unbelievable. The race ends. Jones is doing his burnouts, and we have a fist fight on pit road. Cole Custer walked up to Tyler Reddick earlier on one of the final restarts. The 2 was trying to hug the bottom and couldn't make it stick. Slid up into the 00, put him in the fence. Custer didn't appreciate that very much. Came over to talk to him, and it was on. It was just a nasty, all-out brawl between those 2 drivers and their pit crews. The official didn't really try too hard to get into it. He just kind of put a hand in there and just sort of let it unfold. I don't know. He just seemed so apathetic. I don't know what that was all about. But just crazy action. Tempers are flaring, especially when we're this close to the end of the season. It was craziness, absolute craziness. But just what a race. It was one of the best Xfinity races I've seen in quite a long time. But congratulations to Brandon Jones on getting the win. That is unbelievable. Let me go ahead and run through the finishing order here. Brandon Jones takes the win. Tyler Reddick second. Third is Chase Briscoe. Fourth is Michael Annett. Justin Allgaier fifth. Jeremy Clement sixth. Justin Haley seventh. John Hunter Nemechek still rebounds for an 8th place finish. Ryan Sieg 9th. Ross Chastain 10th. 11th is Cole Custer. Christopher Bell is 12th. 13th is Noah Gragson, 14th Ray Black Jr., 15th Alex LeBay, 16th Dylan Bassett. I remember he was one of my sleeper storylines a couple of weeks ago, and I talked about every time he gets in one of these cars, it seems like he's a solid top 15 or pretty darn close in a car that really shouldn't be there, and he did it again, 16th. Greg Alding, 17th, after a severe allergic reaction earlier on in the weekend. We weren't sure whether or not he was going to be able to race, but he ends up P17. 18th is Brandon Brown. 19th is BJ McLeod. 20th is Matt Mills. 21st, Josh Williams. 22nd, Kyle Weatherman. David Starr, 23rd. 24th is my namesake, CJ McLaughlin. 25th is Austin Cindric. 26th, Chad Fincham. Stephen Light is 27th, Tyler Matthews 28th, 29th is Josh Bilicki, 30th Vinnie Miller, 31st Bobby Earnhardt, 32nd Joey Gase, 33rd Garrett Smithley, 34th is Harrison Burton, 35th is Bailey Curry, 36th Landon Castle, 37th J.J. Yaley, and 38th is Ryan Truex. And the impact this has on the playoff standings, Justin Allgaier is currently the fourth guy in. Obviously the big three are pretty safe. You don't want to be too careful, but they're pretty close. Justin Allgaier is the fourth guy in. He's 2 points above the line. The four that are currently out are the 98 of Chase Briscoe, the 1 of Michael Annett, the 9 of Gragson, and the 22 of Austin Cindric. So it's gonna be a close battle for that final transfer spot, providing that the big three, that all three of them make it. I personally think it's going to be Chase Briscoe who makes it to Homestead as that fourth guy. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. But yeah, congratulations, Brandon Jones. That was one heck of a race. Moving on to the Cup Series. This was an elimination race. We cut the playoff field down from 12 to 8. We eliminated 4 drivers at the end of this race. And man, it was crazy. The craziness started right from qualifying, because the front row in qualifying was Daniel Hemrick on the pole and David Reagan second. Those front row cars were pretty fast in qualifying, and it was pretty obvious that they were trimmed out for qualifying because they dropped like rocks in the race itself. But Daniel Hemrick was showing that he belonged up there for a while. He led the first 5 laps and was doing a pretty solid job of hanging on. Like I mentioned, those fast qualifiers were fading. Actually, no one who started in the top 10 in this race finished there, which is just kind of an interesting stat. But we had incredible side-by-side racing early on in this race, especially for the lead. Just really, really good side-by-side battles, great racing. The 24, William Byron, was making good progress. He started, I want to say 25th is where he started this race. And he was like plus 11 in the first 20 laps. Did not take him long at all to get up into the top 10 and start really challenging as a serious contender. We had an intense battle between the 20 of Eric Jones, the 12 of Ryan Blaney, and the 18 of Kyle Busch. Those three were just trading positions like crazy, just really going at it. The 41 of Daniel Suarez looked really impressive for a large portion of this race. Was showing like solid top 3 speed at certain parts in this race. Pit stops started cycling through in the first stage. We had a caution for teammates. The 6 of Ryan Newman, I don't know what he was thinking. He was not clear at all of his teammate Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in the 17. Just chopped across his nose and put himself in the fence. I don't know what that was about. I don't know if he just thought he was clear or if the spotter fell asleep on the job. I don't know what happened, but that was just a dumb mistake because he was so obviously not clear and just chopped across his nose. We had a crazy stage finish because that was pretty late in the stage. Set up a very like 2-lap dash, I think, to the stage end. Joey Logano managed to hold off the field on old tires. Clinton Boyer plummeted, stacked up the entire field, and really made a mess of things. But Joey Logano wins stage 1. Early on in stage 2, we had a caution. The 42 of Kyle Larson was trying to work his way through lap traffic. The 66 of Joey Gase took his line away one too many times, and 42 just dumped him. And then the 42 had a tire penalty on that pit stop. The 11 of Denny Hamlin was able to win stage 2. The 24 of William Byron got himself up to about 4th or 5th. Was by far the best long-run car all day. Just couldn't quite get there. He came into this race 27 points behind the cut line. It was essentially a must-win. He finished 5th. He almost did what he needed to. It just wasn't quite enough. Early on in stage 3, the 11 of Denny Hamlin and the 19 of Martin Truex Jr. clinched positions into the next round just with how far ahead they were in points. The Gibbs cars were just leagues better than anybody else, and nobody else even had a chance. The bubble battle was shaping up to be between the 2 of Brad Keselowski and the 9 of Chase Elliott. We had a late caution for Ryan Blaney blowing a tire. That set up some pretty crazy restarts. The 9 of Chase Elliott got the better position in the points. He put himself in position to possibly try to win this thing. We had another caution for the 43 of Bubba Wallace and the 36 of Matt Tifft. Something broke in the 43 and the entire wheel came off. Like tire, hub, everything. The wheel just came off. 43 spins out, collects 36. Set up overtime, an overtime restart. We had another caution, the 41 of Suarez, the 8 of Henrik, and the 22 of Logano. All 3 of them crashed together. We had a second overtime restart. Just crazy. Restarts were just incredible all day long. Like 5 wide at some points during restarts. Just craziness. But in the end, Keselowski just started plummeting on that last restart. Provided the points buffer that both Chase Elliott and Joey Logano needed. Logano was pretty much safe after he won the first stage. But Denny Hamlin takes the win. To 24, William Byron, like I said, he ended up 5th. But he needed to win and just barely missed the cut line, unfortunately. But to go from finishing like 23rd, 21st, somewhere around there in points last year, to now not only making the playoffs, but making the second round and coming oh so close to making the third. Very impressive season for William Byron, and it wouldn't surprise me at all to see him get a win before the year is out. But yeah, the 4 that were... Well, I'll get to the eliminated 4 in just a minute, but yeah, Denny Hamlin wins on that final restart. I thought Chase Elliott was going to have him, and he just didn't quite have the time. Great race all around, kind of an icky result. I'm not a Joe Gibbs Racing fan at all, but yeah, Denny Hamlin for sure. Hamlin and Truex are going to be really hard to beat for this championship. It's probably going to be one of those 2 in all likelihood. But let me go ahead and run through the finishing order here. Denny Hamlin takes the win. 2nd is Chase Elliott. Kyle Busch 3rd. Kurt Busch 4th. William Byron 5th. 6th is Martin Truex Jr. 7th is Eric Jones. 8th is Clinton Boyer. 9th is Kevin Harvick. 10th is Jimmy Johnson. Solid top 10 for Johnson. 11th is Alex Bowman. 12th is Ryan Preece. 13th is Chris Buescher. Good day for the JTG Doherty guys. 14th is Kyle Larson, 15th is Matt DiBenedetto, 16th Ricky Stenhouse Jr., 17th Joey Logano, 18th Paul Menard, 19th Brad Keselowski, 20th is Austin Dillon, 21st is Ryan Blaney, 22nd is Ty Dillon, 23rd Eric Almirola, 24th Michael McDowell, 25th Matt Tifft, 26th David Reagan, 27th Ross Chastain, 28th Corey LaJoie, 29th Parker Kligerman, 30th J.J. Yaley, 31st Daniel Hemrick, 32nd Daniel Suarez, Reed Sorensen is 33rd, Garrett Smithley 34th, 35th is Bubba Wallace, 36th Josh Bilicki, 37th Landon Castle, 38th Joey Gase, 39th Timmy Hill, and 40th after that early incident is Ryan Newman. So the impact that this has on the playoffs, the 4 that were eliminated were the 2 of Brad Keselowski, the 24 of William Byron, the 14 of Clint Boyer, and the 88 of Alex Bowman, which means going into Martinsville this weekend, here is your Cup Series round of 8. Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr., Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano, Kevin Harvick, Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, and Ryan Blaney. So those are the 8 drivers that will still have a chance at this championship heading into this weekend in Martinsville. And good news, I will be at the race this weekend in Martinsville. Exciting stuff happening there. I'll probably, like I did for Daytona, I'll probably have a special vlog video that will come out after my typical weekend recap next week. So keep an eye out for that. It's going to be good. I'm going to be in some pretty special places, getting to hang with some pretty special people. So keep an eye out for that. It's going to be good. I'm excited. I went to this race last year and was able to see possibly one of the most pivotal moments of the entire season, which was the last lap contact between Joey Logano and Martin Truex Jr. So hoping for another incredible Martinsville race this coming weekend. It's going to be good. keep an eye out for all of that. So that's pretty much going to do it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, remember you can follow the show on Twitter at Fifth Turn, also on Facebook, facebook.com/The Fifth Turn, and send an email to thefifthturn@gmail.com if you want to get in touch with me that way. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you guys so much for your continued watching and your continued support. Really do appreciate everybody who tunes into the show every week. It means a lot to me. So take care, and I will see you guys next week.